So 2v8 for Dead by Daylight has come out, and I wanted to put my opinions up. It's already on its way out. By the time I release this video, it might have already been over. But I kind of wanted to talk about my opinions for it because there's things I love about it, things I really don't like about it. But overall, to me, it's chaotic, fun, yet disappointing. First of all, it is technically a new game mode, which is pretty big for Dead by Daylight since there's really only one game mode in this game. But the disappointing thing to me is it's it's essentially the same gameplay, just more players. It's like the big team battle in Halo. You know, it's big team battle is basically a team deathmatch, but with more players. And that's what this 2v8 mode is. It's the same mode, fixing gens to get out of the trial, just with more players. It is chaotic and it's fun, but it is a bit disappointing that this isn't really something different. It's not like Capture the Flag or something. It literally is the same game mode, just with more items, more gens, more exit gates, more hatches, more players, and 2 killers. And it's fun. It's fun, and it's very fast paced. I played a bunch of 2v8 as Survivor. I played it a few times as Killer. It's definitely much more fun as Killer, which is why the wait time for being a Killer is really long. But it is really fun, and it's very fast paced. Which my point was when I played a ton of this, and then I went back to play 1v4, and it does feel much slower and much more tense and scary. But I think both game modes are still fun. It does feel more stressful playing 1v4 because there's more pressure when there's less players as a Survivor, and even as Killer, it's more pressure because there's less pressure on you being really good. You could always team up, or like the other Killer might be very good and get all the kills for you anyway while you set traps or something. It is fast paced, you know. You either die really quickly or you escape really quickly. It really does depend on the killers. One thing I did not like was the first weekend for this was set in a free to play weekend, which to me is kind of scummy, and I didn't like that because first of all, these people that are playing for the first time, and their first time playing Dead by Daylight is going to be this 2v8 mode, which is much more fun and less stressful and faster paced. But once this game mode is done, the people who bought this game are going to be stuck playing 1v4, which is more stressful, slower paced, very competitive, which I don't like that this game gets really competitive, but it is what it is. But those people that bought this game for 2v8 are gonna quickly learn that it's probably not gonna be their cup of tea once they start playing 1v4. And I feel like doing this game mode in a free-to-play weekend was kind of scummy because you're kind of falsely advertising to those people that are new to the game. They probably think, oh, this is gonna be fun, and then 2v8 is gonna be gone, and then they're only gonna be stuck playing 1v4, and they're gonna be like, oh. I did see someone say that 2v8 is a good practice mode since there's a lot less pressure on you, so I think that is a good thing. These people that are new playing this game, this is a good place to practice. But for people who know how to play the game, if you're stuck with 7 other people that don't know how to play the game, it does get stressful. And I have been sent to a bunch of trials with about 6 or 7 other people that are completely new. You could tell because of the way they play, and they don't have any skins or any DLC characters, but yeah, you can tell when they're new. And in a lot of games of mine, I'm stuck with new people, and it gets very frustrating, but it is a good practice mode. I do agree with that. Now, one of the negatives about this mode is there are really only 5 killers, so even on both sides you could get bored playing these killers, or you might not even be good at any of these killers. So it's the Trapper, the Hillbilly, the Wraith, the Nurse, and the Huntress. So if you're not good with any of those, you're in trouble. I personally am not good with any of those except for Trapper. Trapper's like the default. Anybody could be good with Trapper, especially in this. What I just did was I played Trapper and all I did was set traps. I hardly ever tried to actually do any kills myself. I just set traps, but it's fun, you know, because the other player gets to chase around and whatever. I don't like killers that have like a kind of speed boost or anything, you know, like the Wraith and the Hillbilly. You just charge all the way across the map and get to every gen quickly. It causes for people to be able to take the last gens hostage, and in my experience, there have been a lot more games where the killers wipe the whole team. So I do think survivors need some kind of bone. You know, you need to throw survivors of some kind of bone to like help the odds even out. You know, there should be at least 1 or 2 people escaping. But I do think it is killer sighted. It's still fun though, even if you're a survivor, it's still fun. But since there's only 5 killers, I do think if they ever bring this mode out again, and I do feel they should bring this mode out more frequently. You know, maybe once a month or once every 2 months, bring it out again, because it is a fun mode, and I do understand them not keeping it there forever, because I don't think Dead by Daylight has such a huge player base. So I feel like if they made it a permanent mode, the player base that's already kind of small, it might be big, but I feel like it's a small player base. It's gonna be split into 2, and you know that's not very smart. This ain't Fortnite where you could have 50 different game modes and there's still like a ton of players playing. But yeah, I do think it's smart making this limited time mode, but you should bring it back every so often. Very often, actually. I would say once a month or once every 2 months. That'd be a good amount of time. But I do think the next time they add this game mode, they should add at least 5 more killers. I have a list here of the killers I think would be good for this mode. First and foremost, my main, the Spirit. I know I'm contradicting what I said about people with speed boost, but I think if they have the Nurse already, I think the Spirit isn't too far of a stretch. She'd be a fair killer in this mode. And I'm much better with the Spirit than with the Nurse. I don't get a headache using her ability like I do with the Nurse. But yeah, I think the Spirit would be a good addition. I think the Doctor might be a good addition. I think his problem would be it'd be too easy for him to find survivors. But it's already easy finding survivors anyway, because every little thing reveals their auras to you as a killer. So I think the Doctor would be a fine addition. The Trickster, which I think a lot of people hate going against the Trickster, but I think in 2v8 when there's 8 other survivors, I think the Trickster's a fine killer. All he does is throw things. If you have the Huntress, I think the Trickster's another fine addition. The Deathslinger, I don't play the Deathslinger. I don't even have him, so I don't. All I know about him is that he shoots with that chain gun, and he reels you in. So I think he'd be pretty fair. And then you got the Twins. I hate going against the Twins, but I think they'd be fair too. I think they should, for now, refrain from any licensed characters. But if they keep doing just original characters, I think those 5 would be fine for the next time they add 2v8. Tell me who you agree with or who you don't agree with, especially with Deathslinger and the Twins, because I don't have them, so I don't know how fair or unfair they would be. But I feel like they'd be fair. Also, another suggestion for next time they bring in this mode, let killers do Moris. First of all, you don't have to hook anyway, so why not just throw killers a bone and let them Mori people if they're in their last hook or cage or whatever you want to call them here. If they're in their last tick, they should be allowed to Mori. Plus, if they're busy Moriing, they'll give survivors, you know, just that many more seconds to finish gens up or anything, you know. So they'd have fun being distracted by their Mori, and survivors will have a chance by that distraction of the Mori. So I think you should let killers Mori next time you bring in this game mode. Please let that happen. That'd be giving both survivors and killers something to have fun with and give them a little chance, throw them a little bone there. Also, this might be controversial, but I think next time they bring this game mode back in, I would say let survivors bring in items. Flashlights are useless in this mode because you can't really save people. You don't have to hook anyone here, so it's really hard to save people with flashlights. So let them bring flashlights anyway. Might as well let them bring something to give them a little bit of a favor, because I do feel this is killer sided. I know a lot of people like to say that it's survivor sided. This game mode specifically, I think, is meant for killers to have fun. So if I'm gonna play survivor and get killed anyway, I would like to bring some items. That's a hit or a miss. I disagree and agree with myself on this one, but I do think we should be able to bring items in. If you're gonna die anyway, might as well let us bring a useless flashlight, And finally, I do think this might be another controversial one, but if you're not gonna let us bring in items, at the very least, make this 2v10 instead of 2v8. I do feel like 8 players go down very easily, if they're casual players. Of course, I've been lucky enough to play with in trials where like everyone's a pro except for me. So they know how to really distract the killers or get gens done really quickly. But those are very rare instances for me. Most of my games as survivors, I would say it's like 80% of the time the killers got all the kills and no survivors got away. So in my opinion, I think 2v10 would be better. That might be crazy talk, but I do think it is killer sided. Plus, more kills for the killers. More food for them. Let them get more Moris if you add that next game. But I do think it should throw us a little more of a bone. And one more suggestion, because everyone wants to play killer in this mode. And what they did here was give us a 400% increase in our blood point earnings. And I don't care about blood points. Blood points have always been too easy to get anyway. You could do nothing and earn blood points. I think to convince more people to play Survivor, you should give us 10 iridescent shards per game. It's not a lot, but it adds up after a while, and I feel like more people will be convinced to play Survivor if you give us, instead of giving us blood points, give us 10 iridescent shards per game. At least until the numbers even out. But I think more people will want to play Survivor if you give us iridescent shards instead of 400% blood points, which I know a lot of people do like getting blood points, but to me, I prefer iridescent shards. I think that will convince more people to play Survivor. And it'll even the ratio between survivors and killers in wait times better. But yeah, those are my opinions on Dead by Daylight 2v8. It's very chaotic. It's very fun. I was a bit disappointed because it really is just the same game mode but bigger. The big team battle of Dead by Daylight. I can't wait for them to bring back the mode. I hope they do bring back the mode, and I hope they tweak stuff, like add more killers and let Moris happen and stuff like that. But those are my little suggestions for how to make the game a little bit more enjoyable or better, in my opinion. Some people might not agree with what I said, but overall, I thought this game was fun. It should come back more often. It should not be a yearly thing. Give it to us every couple of months or every month if possible, for a week. If it's every couple of months, do it for 2 weeks. But yeah, bring it back more often. It is a very fun, and it is much more relaxing to play than 1v4. I still love 1v4, but it'll depend on the mood. If you want to feel more like a goofy, fun time, you can play this mode. If you want to play a more tense horror movie vibe, then you could go to 1v4. But overall, it is fun, and let me know your opinions. What would you want to see tweaked or added or taken away for the next time they bring this mode back?